Hello fantasy faithfuls and welcome to Scheme Fit Season 4 Episode 2. Today I will be looking at DeAndre Hopkins and the Arizona Cardinals. So let's dig in.
Community here in Houston. Watson out to his right, end zone wide open. Pass caught. Hopkins for the touchdown.
First, let's take a look at DeAndre Hopkins and his receiving patterns. Hopkins has fantastic receiving trends. He is mostly targeted to the short left with very few targets going to the right. The short middle receives a ton of targets as well, while all deep zones are as even as can be. His catch rate is best in the short left for perfect synergy with his targets, and the other two short zones are well above the 60% benchmark for a wide receiver. Only concern is the deep right that's under the 40% a top receiver usually has in a deep zone. His yards per catch is very concerning in the short left, tons of targets, great catch rate, but doesn't even get that much from these catches. The short middle on the other hand is a massive threat for him, and that deep left is one of the best in the league. So looking at his notable zones for targeting, completion rate, and yards per completion, the short left and middle are zones we should keep an eye on. For completion, again, it is the short left. This will be an important zone for Murray. Deep right should hopefully not see a ton of targets for Hopkins with Kyler throwing the ball. His yardage needs high numbers to the short left for Murray to take a step forward and keep being high deep left and short middle.
Getting Detroit on their heels a little bit.
First down on the 27. Murray going up on top to Johnson. Touchdown!
Let us now focus on Kyler Murray. In his rookie year, Murray made the pretty underwhelming wide receiver corps in Arizona, scored the 13 most points in the entire NFL, which is very impressive. He targeted his number one receiver on 20% of his throws last year. That would only be roughly 105 for DeAndre Hopkins, but he had almost 60 more pass attempts than Deshaun Watson, so the pie is bigger, and if he could get a little bit more percentage, it should be no problem at all. Breaking down his passing trends, Murray, even though he has a ton of short passes to the short right, still has above league average pass attempts to the short left, which is great to see. I would have liked to see more pass attempts over the short middle though, and even deep middle. 16% in that short middle is 4% lower than the league average. For accuracy, I will complain about the short middle again, not because he's inaccurate, but because I would like to have seen so many more targets here, as this is one of his best zones by far. Deep zone accuracy is below average across the board, but only by a few percent. When it comes to getting yards, Murray was pretty darn good on throws that went further than 15 yards beyond the line of scrimmage. However, his short zone production is very underwhelming, 1 yard below league average in all zones. Notable zones for Kyler Murray, the short left will see a ton of targets for DeAndre Hopkins, so that's a great fit. There will be fewer targets over the middle, which is a shame. Short middle's accuracy is even higher than Hopkins' catch rate, and deep middle passes will stay high for the two of them. And the yards can go up a bit for Hopkins with Murray throwing the ball. The deep middle will be very dangerous. Short left production will likely increase with Murray as he's almost 2 yards above Nuke's numbers, while the short middle will go down unfortunately. But overall, Watson fits Hopkins a bit better if we only look at passing trends and nothing else, as he has more passes over the short middle and higher yards per completion in the deep zones. I would like to take a second to remind you to hit that like button, leave a comment what you think about this video, and subscribe to the channel. I love every interaction I have with y'all, and every little bit helps me put out even more content. When it comes to calling pass plays, Kingsbury have called a pass on 52% of his first downs, 59 on second, and 83% on third. That is more passes on both first and third than Bill O'Brien, but 4% lower on second. So more pass plays should be called overall. But looking at Hopkins' productivity on these downs, we see that he's actually more productive on second down compared to first and third. This is not the best fit, but I won't complain too much as overall pass attempts will increase with the pairing. Moving over to the red zone to break down the red zone trends, Hopkins saw his red zone targets go down from 35% of the team's attempts to only 21% in 2019. Kyler Murray and Deshaun Watson have actually identical red zone completion numbers though at 55%. However, with that, Watson scored 6 more red zone touchdowns 4 of them went to DeAndre Hopkins. Larry Fitzgerald was the most targeted Cardinal in the red zone last year at 14, one more than Hopkins had in Houston. So Hopkins will be a bigger threat in the red zone in Arizona, not because of fit or anything, just by getting more looks.
Watson to Hopkins, he's got it, touchdown! DeAndre Hopkins!
For the conclusion, let's do as we always do and look at their synergies and their bad fits. The zones that match well are, in my opinion, the short left and the deep middle. We see great synergy here between Kyler Murray and DeAndre Hopkins, and this will produce a lot of points throughout the season. So we have 2 good zones. The red zone will provide more chances for Hopkins to score touchdowns. There will be more pass attempts in general, specifically on third downs, and the quarterback is very wide receiver friendly, even with limited resources. The bad fits are not that bad in my opinion. Not enough throws on second down is me nitpicking a little bit, but something to keep in mind. The big one is the lack of throws over the short middle. If this changes in Arizona, I'm super excited for Hopkins in fantasy and Kyler Murray as well if he's not too expensive in drafts. So with the increase in pass attempts and that Murray had his wide receiver corps be the 13th best in fantasy scoring last year is very promising. The red zone is super interesting and I can see Hopkins score at least 3 more touchdowns than last year, but overall be around wide receiver 5 at the end of the year anyway. Thank you very much for watching. Hit that like button if you enjoyed this video and subscribe for even more content. Till next time. Hello Fantasy Faithful, I hope you enjoyed that video. Don't forget to check out more of them right here and here. In case you haven't done so already, be sure to subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications so you don't miss a beat.